Welcome back. So we're about an hour away from closing bell. And you know it's bad when CNBC starts using caps on their headlines. I've been watching CNBC for years now. I don't recall the last time they started using caps on their breaking news or their top headline news. If you go to CNBC right now, you'll see Dow falls 2,000 points due to Trump's tariffs and whatever else. But yeah, as you guys have noticed, Dow is falling, US markets are crashing, and everything is in the red. Everything except Bitcoin. What did I tell you guys? Over the last few days, I said seller exhaustion is here and the big boys are still loading up. Long-term investors are loading up, and it seems like we have found that footing in the low 80s and we are now heading higher. Do you know how amazing it is on a day like today when everything, literally everything is crashing and there seems to be no stops whatsoever, and Bitcoin is actually going upwards? It's amazing to see, and finally the narrative of Bitcoin being a great store of value, a hedge against inflation, is coming to be. And this happened even overnight while Europe was crashing. I noticed Bitcoin was coming up too. So it's not just the US people, North Americans are thinking this, Europeans are also starting to realize this, and Asia is starting to realize this as well. So that's fantastic. So obviously the tariff wars are now starting. China today said in retaliation they're going to place 34% tariffs on US goods. This does affect some countries like Boeing, for example, and there's several others that will be affected. But obviously, most of our companies that are producing in China being shipped here, I've mentioned like Apple is a big one, Nike a big one, even Tesla. A lot of Tesla cars are being produced in China. So everything is down. Everything's down, like down huge, 7, 8, 9, 10%. Again, this is on top of yesterday. Today's fall is even worse than yesterday. And I told you guys, I said in my video yesterday, it's going to happen. This is going to keep on going. This is done intentionally. And funny enough, Trump tweeted out or retweeted on Truth Social a video that someone else made that basically said exactly what I said, which, to paraphrase, basically the guy said the same thing, that Trump was doing this intentionally to bring down the rates. Everything was done to bring down the rates because it's going to help bring down mortgage rates, which will help the real estate market. It's going to help Powell. It's going to actually not help, but force Powell to cut the Fed fund rate. It's going to help when we have to issue new bonds to pay back the money that we owe on the maturing bonds. And even though stock markets are crashing, this is something I forgot to mention, that 94% of stocks are owned by 8% of the population, which is majority of just like the wealthy and the funds. So basically it's stuff that I've been saying. And Trump himself retweeted that on Truth Social. So I think there's more to it than that. Obviously, I think he does see this as a way to even up trade, to collect additional revenue. I think up to 1.2 trillion and this and that. But man, it's getting bad. All the economists, everyone is saying that this is going to lead to horrible global tariff wars, chance of recession now. JP Morgan came out. So chance of recession is now up to 60%. And there's just a lot of fears out there. But with all this said, right? I do think there are two main narratives here. One is, when it's all said and done, okay, which I believe is coming either May or June, and I've been saying that for a while, when we get that quantitative easing, when we finally have that bottom, wherever we end up at, it's going to be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to buy. Wherever the Mag 7 ends up at, or not even a Mag 7, wherever everything ends up at, by the time we find that bottom and that quantitative easing happens, again, once in a lifetime opportunity. It'll be the same as if you were buying in 2008 when we found that bottom and everything started going up. Forget 2020, right? 2020, yes, we kind of had that light recession because of COVID, but not really. 2008, that was when it was really bad. So that's number one. I truly believe that, yeah, when we hit that bottom, because I think this selling is not going to be done for quite some time. It can't sell off like this, minus 2,000 for Dow, minus 1,000 for NASDAQ every single day. We're going to get brief bounces. Sure, we're going to get dead cat bounces. We're going to get, probably next week, we're probably going to get 1 or 2 days of green just because we're so oversold, but then we're going to continue forward. But yeah, I think we're going to continue on until we get an easing. The 10-year yield that I've been mentioning has dropped below 4%. We haven't seen that happen since last year, and it's getting very close. It's like at 3.97% or something. It's getting closer and closer to that 3.67 mark that I noted that we were at in September. If we get to that point, which I think we will, which will probably align to May or June, I think that's the bottom. So again, when we get to that bottom, it's going to be once in a lifetime opportunity to load up, and a lot of money will be made. So that's number one. But number two, more importantly, why most of you guys watching this is, right now, Bitcoin is not only holding, but now going up. This is the best case scenario. We no longer have all the selling pressure. Everyone that was panicking, everyone that decided to cut their losses, decided to sell at a loss, decided that this is not for me, seems like they're all gone. They all left. There's no more. All the short-term sellers, short-term investors, they're all gone. What's left are the long-term holders. The long-term holders that have been in it for years, we're not going to be selling because we bought, and our dollar cost average cost is way lower than where it is now, because obviously even Bitcoin at 84,000 is higher than where it was a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, right? So this doesn't really affect us. So obviously the long-term holders are not going anywhere. The newer whales that are loading up, they're not going anywhere because they're loading up for the future. And the new institutions, they're doing the same thing. They're loading up for the future because they now recognize Bitcoin is the best asset to hold, and they're not going anywhere. They're the ones that were playing the games earlier this year and last year, trying to drive people out so they can accumulate more. So basically, everyone, it seems like, it's early. We'll see how bad the markets get, but right now it does seem like seller exhaustion is here. All the lettuce hand short-term investors are gone. And what we're left with are the long-term hardcore investors that believe, and the new institutional investors and the big whales that are just loading up. And that's why we have found our footing. And now, on a day like today, when Dow is minus 2,000 plus and everything is crashing, Bitcoin is going up. Think about that. Bitcoin is going up on a day like today. You can't have any better than that. Not only that, all the altcoins, the big cap altcoins I've been talking about, they're coming up too. I mean, they're all coupled with Bitcoin, so obviously Bitcoin goes up, they're gonna go up, but they are. Just take a minute to think about that. If that doesn't reassure you, I don't know what does. If you discount everything else, all the fundamentals, right, all the technicals, everything else that exists, just take a second to think about how amazing it is that Bitcoin has found its bottom, its local bottom now, and despite how much we're selling off today, it's not going down, it's actually going upwards. It's amazing. And I think after Market Bell, which is coming up in about an hour, we will see Bitcoin go up even more. And this weekend could be absolutely fantastic. I think this weekend could be a big surprise where we actually rally up pretty good as more and more people realize that Bitcoin is the one to buy and seller exhaustion is here and it's not going to go down into the 70s anymore. I think that's going to happen. So we'll see. We'll see. All right, guys. Happy Friday. Hang on. I know it's brutal if you're invested in stocks. It's going to be bad for quite some time. But if you're invested in Bitcoin and crypto, it's looking bright. It's looking brighter. And let's see what happens this weekend. I'll be back to my normal schedule next week. So look forward to that. But in the meantime, smash the like, subscribe to the channel. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.